Solving multi-step equations, review number 2. I'd like you to go ahead and write down this problem. 4 times 2a plus 3 equals negative 3 times a minus 1 plus 31. Write that down, go ahead and solve it, and then we will check it together. All right, so remember the first thing that we have to do is look at both sides of our equal sign and handle any distribution and combining like terms. So first I'm going to go with the left side, and I'm going to say 4 times 2a is 8a, and then 4 times 3 is 12. So that's a positive 12. Now I'm going to look at the right side of my equal sign, and I'm going to multiply negative 3 times a, which is negative 3a. Then a negative 3 times a negative 1 is a positive 3. And then I also still have 31 positives out here. All right, now my next step is going to be to combine like terms. I don't have anything on the left that I need to combine, so I'm just going to rewrite 8a plus 12. And on the right, I have 3 positives and 31 positives. So that's negative 3a plus, not 33, 34. All right. Now that I have both sides of my equation simplified, I'm going to focus on getting all of my variables onto one side. So I have 8 positive a's over here. I have more positives on the left. So I'm going to try and get rid of those 3 negative a's so that I only have variables on the left. So how do I get rid of 3 negative a's? I add 3 positive a's. Whatever I do to the one side, I have to do to the other side. So I end up with 11 a's and 12 positives, and that balances, those guys zeroed out, with 34 positives. Then my next step is going to be to isolate my variable. I want to get the a's just by themselves because I want to know what the value of 1a is. So I have to get rid of my 12 positives, so that I'm going to do that with by adding 12 negatives to each side. So I know that 11 a's has the same weight as 22. But remember, I don't want the weight of 11 a's. I only want the weight of 1a. So I'm going to divide both sides by 11, and I find that a has a weight of 2 positives. Now remember to check. You can go ahead and substitute your value for 2 back in for a and make sure that you end up with a balanced equation. All right, I'd like you to go ahead and write down this next problem. 3 times x plus 5 equals 2 times negative 6 minus x minus 2x. Write this down, solve, and we will check together. All right, so what I want to do is look at both sides of my equal sign, and I want to handle any combining like terms or distribution. So on the left, I need to multiply my 3 times my x and my 5. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times positive 5 is positive 15. Then on the right, I see that I have some distribution, and then I also have this negative 2 out to the side. So I could just go ahead and write my it's a negative 2x out to the side, or I can distribute and then write it down in a second. But I wrote it down right there, so now I have 2 times negative 6, which is negative 12, and 2 times negative x, which is negative 2x. So make sure you pay attention to your signs, because that's a very common mistake, is to put the wrong sign. All right, now my next step is going to be to look at both sides and see if there's any combining of like terms that I need to do. On the left, I just have 3 x's and 15 positives, so nothing else to do on the left. On the right, I need to combine some like terms, my negative 2x and my negative 2x. So I still have negative 12, and then I have negative 2x, and more negative 2x's make negative 4x's. All right, then now that I have all of my distribution and combining like terms, I have everything written out as simply as possible. Now, I have to focus on getting my x's all onto one side. So I see that I have 3 positive x's and I have 4 negative x's. I'm going to go ahead and get everything to the left since I have more x's on the left and they're positive. So I'm going to get rid of those 4 negative x's by zeroing them out with 4 positive x's. So whatever I do to one side, I must also do to the other side. So I end up with 7x and 15 positives, and that weighs the same as 12 negatives because this guy's zeroed out. Now my next step will be to isolate my variable. I can't find the weight of my x's when I have 15 positives with them, so I've got to get rid of those 15 positives. So now those zeroed out, so 7 x's has the same weight as 27 negatives. Now I'm going to, I don't want the weight of 7 x's, I only want the weight of 1 x. So I'm going to divide each side by 7. So I get that x has the same weight as a negative because a negative divided by a positive is a negative. Now this is an improper fraction and it doesn't simplify real nicely. So we're going to leave it as an improper fraction because it's much easier to deal with improper fractions than it is mixed numbers or even decimals. And that is it. So don't be freaked out if you end up with an improper fraction at the end. And remember, you can always go and substitute your values in for x to check to see if your answer is correct. So pause and rewind as much as you need to make sure that you understand how to solve multi-step equations.